Welcome back to a sleepy, dark past. Tonight, the journey we embark upon is a long one, a descent into the deepest silence of history. Take a moment and gently close your eyes, allowing yourself to fully surrender to the calm. Breathe in slowly, deeply, holding the air for a moment, and then release it, letting every whisper of the day's tension drift away into this surrounding quiet dot. If you find peace in these quiet chapters of history, consider subscribing to Sleepy Dark Past. It is the quietest way to support this ongoing journey. Thank you. Now we continue our slow, deliberate descent into the past. We are traveling to Rome, but not the Rome of bustling forums, triumphant chariots, and shouting crowds. We seek the Rome of the deep, quiet night. We are entering the grandest palace on the Palatine Hill, the very home of an emperor. This story is about a man who possessed all the power in the known world, yet could not command the simple, desperate gift of rest. Tonight, we explore Caligula's eternal night, a man tormented not by external threats, but by the creeping poison of his own solitude and his relentless paranoia. Let the sound of my voice be your anchor, small, clear, and profoundly slow. There is no rush now. There is only calm. The past is very far away, and you are entirely safe. Caligula, known affectionately to his soldiers as Little Boot, lived in an endless, terrifying paradox. He commanded the legions, the Senate, and the destiny of millions. Yet, when the sun set and the grand doors of the palace closed, the silence that enveloped him was deafening. Imagine the marble halls, polished and vast, stretching out into the deep darkness. His own footsteps were often the only sound, tapping, then echoing, then fading into nothingness. The palace was built for the gods, but at night it became a cold, echoing tomb for one. Feel the immensity of the Palatine Hill beneath you, the sheer weight of the ancient stone, and the coldness of unchallenged power. The air is heavy and perfectly still. You are listening to the sound of absolute authority trapped by absolute solitude. Let the silence surround you, holding you gently. Asterisk. To truly understand the root of this sleeplessness, we must travel further back, to the very beginning of the boy named Gaius. We go to the military camps, to the tents, and the constant, rigid life of a child growing up under the shadow of his famous father. His early life was not a carefree childhood. It was a performance, a constant necessity to survive within the strict, dangerous environment of the Roman legions. Think about the sounds of a Roman camp at night. Not the noise of battle, but the low, constant sounds of alert. The slow, measured pacing of the sentries, the faint, metallic clink of armor being adjusted. The cold ground pressing up against the tent floor. Gaius lived under the shadow of his family's powerful presence and their sudden, brutal absence. His family was persecuted, one by one, fading slowly, systematically, into the dark memory of treason. He learned the deep, terrifying truth. Power is not protection. It only makes you a larger, more visible target. He learned to watch, always to watch, to listen for the slightest, most silent threat. This constant vigilance, this endless watching, became more than a habit. It was etched into his very being, a terrifying internal clock that he could never, ever turn off. This is the true, hidden source of the sleepless night, the mind's inability to surrender the watch. Let your own vigilance slowly fade now. We are only listening to the echoes of a very dark past. He now stood in the heart of Rome, but the palace walls were merely an extension of his own isolation. The grand halls, magnificent during the day, became vast, echoing chambers where every one of his breaths seemed to magnify into a loud, accusing sound. He would walk slowly along the porticos, the long covered walkways, his simple sandals tapping, the sound traveling far, a solitary echo. It is the sound of one man, utterly alone, knowing that every person who bowed to him today might be planning his death tomorrow. The Emperor is the center of the world, but at night, the center is the loneliest place in the entire universe. Let your attention drift now to the light. It is not bright here, only the pale silver wash of the moon. A fragile, gentle illumination filtering through the high windows. It touches the edge of the colossal marble columns, tracing a slow, silent path across the floor. This single rectangle of moonlight shifts almost imperceptibly as the night deepens. The shadows are deep, velvet black. They retreat into the unreachable corners, remaining constant, unlike the people. They do not betray. They simply wait, quiet and still. He watches this slow, silent dance between the light and the darkness. He watches the shadow of a single column move only slightly along the polished floor. It moves with the deep, slow rhythm of the night, a rhythm he cannot join. His mind is the only room where the light of suspicion never fully fades. It is a harsh, constant, relentless inner glow. He walks away from the window, and the shadow gently engulfs him. He is a whisper moving through the grand loneliness of his palace, a shadow walking among shadows. Let your own shadows soften now. Let your own light dim gently. There is only the past and the profound silence of the ancient stone. The mind of Caligula was the only room where the light of suspicion never fully faded. It was a harsh, constant, relentless inner glow. This relentless glow became the core of his sleeplessness. It was the eye that could not, would not close. The unblinking eye. Every sound, no matter how small, was a potential threat. Every silence, no matter how deep, was a conspiracy waiting to unfold. Imagine the palace at its stillest point, perhaps the fourth watch of the night, when even the guards struggle to stay alert. The stone is cold. The air is heavy. He stands by the high arched window, listening. He is listening not for shouts of attack, but for the subtle betrayal of a normal sound, the faint scratch of a mouse in the wooden rafters. Was that a footstep? The gentle, almost musical drip of water from a small fountain in the courtyard below. Was that a coded signal? The soft, slow shifting of a velvet curtain moved by a barely there draft of air. Was that the movement of a hidden assassin? His mind transforms the natural, quiet symphony of the night into a terrifying military map of treason. He cannot trust his ears, because his ears are tired. He cannot trust his eyes, because his eyes burn from lack of sleep. So he trusts only the fear, which is the only constant companion he has left. He turns from the window and begins to walk again. His path is never straight, never predictable. He walks the same halls over and over, listening to his own sandals on the marble. The echo follows him, taunting him. Asterisk, it is the sound of his solitude, amplified. He is surrounded by servants, by bodyguards, by the entire machinery of the empire. Yet he is utterly alone in this vigilance. The guards outside his chamber are paid to watch for others. Caligula watches the guards. He watches their backs. He watches the way their shadows fall. He watches the rhythm of their breathing. Is it too slow? Too steady? Too calm? A calm man is a plotting man. A calm guard is a dangerous guard. He remembers the look in the eyes of the Senate during the day, the false smiles, the excessive bowing, the compliments that were too sweet, too detailed. They were masks, all of them, hiding resentment, hiding ambition, hiding the keen edge of a dagger dot in the darkness. All the masks fall away. And in the darkness, the truth is that they hate him. They fear him, and they want him silent. He stops abruptly in the center of the hall. He holds his breath. The entire palace seems to hold its breath with him. The silence becomes so thick it feels like a heavy cloth pressing against his. EARDRUMS.silence.deep silence. He waits for the snap, the break, the moment when the silence reveals the plot. But there is nothing. Only the cold, persistent indifference of the stone. The stone does not care if he rules. The stone does not care if he dies. The unblinking eye forces him to walk to the wall, to feel the cool, solid stone beneath his palm. He pushes against it, seeking reassurance in its immovable nature. Is the stone real? Is the wall thick enough? This is the tyranny of paranoia. It separates the emperor from reality, replacing the solid, tangible world with a shimmering, constantly shifting hallucination of betrayal. He begins to question the very structure of the palace. Are there hidden passages behind the tapestries? Are there tunnels beneath the floor? Was this entire structure built to honor him, secretly designed to contain him, to trap him, to kill him slowly with its cold, immense silence? He feels the panic rising, a slow, cold tide from his chest. He must move. He must keep moving. Because a stationary emperor is a vulnerable emperor dot, he wanders into the largest, most empty hall. The moonlight here is strongest, creating long, deep shadows that stretch and crawl across the marble. He looks at his own shadow. It is twice his height, thin, grotesque, a distortion of his reality. He watches his own shadow intently, trying to catch it in a moment of independent movement, trying to see if even his own shadow is plotting against him. This relentless, repeating cycle of listening, watching, and doubting his own senses is the engine of his sleeplessness. It is the punishment for having absolute power. He has nothing left to conquer, except the simple, quiet surrender to rest. And that surrender to Caligula feels like the ultimate, final act of treason against himself. He cannot afford to be vulnerable. He cannot afford to sleep. The unblinking eye remains open. The watch continues. The solitude deepens. The watch continues. The solitude deepens. He is trapped in the center of the palace, yet he is adrift on an endless sea of cold, silent stone. The paranoia is the anchor that holds him firmly, agonizingly. Awake. Let us now move with the Emperor to the heart of the night, the deepest, darkest hours when the distinction between reality and nightmare begins to dissolve. This is the long, dark hours of Caligula's eternal watch. He begins to notice the small, sensory details that only the sleepless ever truly perceive. He feels the temperature. The palace is an immense stone body, and it breathes. In the central, larger halls, where the air moves freely, the temperature is uniformly cold, a pervasive, steady chill that wraps around the ankles and wrists. It is an intellectual cold, the cold of pure stone indifference. But as he wanders, he approaches the inner chambers, the private rooms, the cubicula which are meant to be shielded. Here, the air changes. It becomes stale and faintly warmer, a heavy, enclosed warmth created by velvet hangings and old wood. This is the cold of a tomb. He steps down a small flight of steps leading towards the subterranean level, the storerooms, the quiet service areas. The air here changes again. It is damp and shockingly frigid, the true cold of the earth rising up to meet him. It carries the distinct scent of wet stone, earth, and deep, forgotten silence. He avoids the warmth. The warmth is where others sleep. The warmth is vulnerability. He seeks the cold, the clarity of the stone, the reminder of the constant. Unfeeling watch. Feel this difference in the air around you now. Feel the soft, gentle warmth of your own protective space. And allow the distant, historical cold of the marble to simply touch your consciousness and then recede. Now, we enter the meditative interlude. The Emperor has been walking for hours. His mind is exhausted, yet his feet refuse to stop. He finds himself standing at the edge of a deep pool within the palace gardens, where the moonlight catches the still surface of the water. He pauses. He looks at his reflection, the pale, drawn face of a man terrified by his own image. He attempts instinctively to quiet the terror. He tries to command his mind. As he commands his empire. Let the water be still. Let the mind be still. This is your invitation too. Let the story become the guide for your breath. Breathe in and imagine the vast, cold stillness of the Palatine Hill. Breathe out and release the heavy, hot air of paranoia. Breathe in, deep and slow. You are safe. You are held by the ground beneath you. Breathe out, gentle and complete. Release the tension from your jaw, your shoulders. Your eyes. Release. Calm. Surrender. Sleep. We will repeat this slow, gentle cadence, this mantra softly and regularly, as the Emperor continues his lonely watch. It is the counterpoint to the paranoia, the gentle insistence of rest against the frantic command to stay awake. He looks up at the moon, which hangs perfectly round and indifferent in the Roman sky. He speaks to the moon as history records. He seeks guidance from the light that is constant, that is far away, that cannot betray him. The moon does not answer. The moon only offers silence, a deep, crystalline silence. He walks on. He walks towards the deepest shadows, where the cold air from the earth rises up. He seeks the extreme, the edge of sensation, hoping to shock his mind into a final, total exhaustion. He repeats the words to himself, a silent, desperate imperial mantra. The stone is cold. The night is deep. I am alone. I am safe. The night is deep. The night is calm. The darkness will hold me. I am safe to sleep. Let the slow, dark rhythm of the ancient palace stone carry you now. The walking is meaningless. The watching is futile. The surrender is inevitable. You are moving closer to the final. Peace. The silence is your friend. The darkness is your blanket. Sleep. Asterisk. The Emperor attempts to use the Imperial mantras. The silent, desperate words he repeats to himself. The night is deep. The night is calm. The darkness will hold me. I am safe to sleep. But the paranoia, that relentless, unblinking eye, demands movement. He wanders now towards the section of the palace that overlooks the city's great, flowing heart, the river Tiber. This is the whispers of the Tiber. He stands on the high terrace, feeling the subtle, humid air rise from the river below. The air here is different from the cold, dry air of the inner marble halls. It is softer, more alive, carrying the distant, faint scent of river mud, distant fishing boats, and wet stone, and the sound. The sound is constant. It is the steady, quiet lapping of the water against the city's ancient embankment. Asterisk. It is a rhythm that has existed for thousands of years. It is older than his power, older than his fears, older than Rome itself. It is a slow, persistent, unchanging rhythm. And for a moment, he is captivated by its endless, indifferent regularity. He tries to let the sound of the Tiber override the loud, frantic ticking of the clock in his mind. The Tiber is a powerful symbol. It brought life and commerce to Rome, but it also carried away the dead. It is the final, silent road for those who fell from power, or those who were executed under his silent command. He watches the surface of the river. It is a vast, dark, coiling ribbon under the pale moonlight. It is too dark to see anything clearly, which is a relief. No faces, no betrayals. Only the moving water. Let the paranoia flow into the water. Let the suspicion flow away, down the river, out to the sea. He repeats the words softly, desperately, trying to mimic the gentle surrender of the water. Breathe in, and feel the cool, river-damp air fill your chest. Breathe out, and let your worries drift like fallen leaves. Away on the current. The water continues its slow, hypnotic journey. The steady, gentle sound is a powerful antidote to the unpredictable terror of the palace's silence. The water is predictable. The water is constant. The water is calm. He stays at the terrace for a long, long time. The moon moves slowly across the sky, and the long, sharp shadow of the palace lengthens and shortens, then finally begins to fade as the first faint hint of pre-dawn light touches the eastern horizon. This final transition, the slow death of the night, is the last terror he must face. Soon the world will wake up. The performance will begin again. The masks will return. But for now, there is still the deep, enveloping peace of the water god. This peace is your peace now. You are not the emperor. You do not have the burdens of the crown. You are safe. Listening to the oldest sound in Rome. Let the whispers of the Tiber wash over you. Let the gentle lapping take you deeper, deeper into the calm. The final peace, the surrender. The sun will rise soon. But before it does, before the light can bring back the anxiety, there is the final, ultimate surrender. The emperor finally moved from the window. The walking is over. The watch has ended, not because he willed it, but because the mind has reached its final, necessary state of exhaustion. He lies down on the simple couch in his private chamber. The marble is still cold, but the exhaustion is warmer than any blanket. His eyes close. For the first time in the long dark hours, the mind stops fighting. The fear is not gone, but it is distant. It is a small, quiet, receding echo. The final secrets of Caligula's night are sealed in this moment of fragile rest. And now, your own peace is absolute. Let the gentle darkness hold you. Let the faint, rhythmic sound of the water be the final sound you hear. Your breathing is slow, ... Your heart is steady, ... slow, ... steady, ... calm, ... there is only rest now. Deep rest, profound rest, ... rest.